Pourquoi tu l'as tapé?
Abdou, so you see here
Yes?
the red button? If you see that there's no more red button, just call me or say Miss Rachel, okay? Good,
We'll
perfect.
check like every once in a while.
Hey guys, how are you? Good, good. Now everything is working. Woo! I'm fine. So, how was your morning? Good? No exam? No. Great. You see, there's the computer at the back recording everything. It's me. It's just for me. It's because of the COVID situation. As I told you last class, my supervisor cannot be here with us today. So that's why I need to record the class, and my supervisor will observe me, see if I'm doing my job efficiently, and if I'm doing everything okay. So don't stress, it's just for me. So today, at the agenda, the first thing that we will do is a game called Last Survivors. And I played this game with the other say two groups, and they really liked it. So I hope that you will like it as well. After, we will talk about how to stay alive, because you will see during the game, some of you will die, yes, and others will stay alive. So, like the song again, how to stay alive. So you will watch a short video about Bear Grylls explaining to you how to stay alive.
Just die.
Yes, Olivier. After this little class, guys, listen up. And if we have time, we will look at the story of the Robertson family, who survived an incredible situation. So the first thing that I will do is taking the attendance, and I think everybody's here. Yes. Yes? No absent?
No.
Okay. So I will show you the classroom page. So you see, I just posted this. This is the link for the simple class. So as you know, for the simple class, you have the irregular verbs, and there's a list with all the irregular verbs. So it's here. Also, time fillers activity. So if you finish an activity before the others, you will first read the incredible adventure story. After, you will play games with modal verbs. And if you finish all of that, I will be surprised, but you will continue the idioms activity that I explained last class. Good?
Yes.
Perfect. And just as a reminder, here are the rules, but I know that you understand and respect them. So, look at my beautiful PowerPoint that I went through. So, the game, the last survivor. Who would like to read the context of the game? Andy. So let's listen to Andy, guys.
As you know, survival is about staying alive when difficult situations happen around you. In this game, you have to imagine yourself on a desert island. You are in teams and you have to decide who will live and who will die. This is an opinion debate because you will each choose a character. Your goal is to defend your character so that you will stay alive on the island. So, only 2 out of the 4 survivors can stay alive because the resources are sufficient for only 2 people.
So, thank you, Andy. You are on a desert island. is survival at the most extreme. You will be in team of 4. So you will choose your team, but try to stay at your place if you can, because of the COVID. So I will present you different characters. Each person will choose one character. Here are the different survival characters. The butcher, the doctor, engineer, gardener, UXC fighter. So you will choose a character. We're in team of 4. And you will see that there are characteristics for each. But only 2 survivors out of the 4 will stay alive. So you will debate. No, I think I will be more important than you because, and you say your opinion or why. Okay? So the first one, the butcher, he is an expert in animals and meat. So in a survival situation, he can be helpful to prepare food. If you want to be the doctor, he's an expert in medicine, as you know. So in a survival situation, he or she can take care of you. The engineer, he's an expert in building stuff. So in a survival situation, it can be useful to have the engineer to build a shelter or a boat or something else. Gardener, expert in plants, mushrooms, berries. So in a survival situation, he can say, this is edible, this is poisonous. Finally, the UFC fighter, it's funny, but he or she is an expert in fighting and protection. So in a survival situation, it can be helpful to have someone who is not afraid of fighting. So, question. Abdou.
Do you decide the teams or do we?
Did you not listen?
Hey, you decide and you choose your character. And as I said, you have to debate. I want to stay alive. So, here are words to express your opinion. So, this is words to express your opinion. I think I should stay alive. I believe in my opinion, and so on. To expressing agreement. What does it mean, agreement? Maxence?
Qu'on accepte, qu'on croit aussi.
Okay. En accord. Jean-Loup, do you agree that agreement is en accord? Yes, because we were talking. So yes, I agree. Je suis d'accord avec toi. And words for expressing disagreement. I disagree. No, you should die and I should stay alive. Make sure you will use those words to debate during the game. Good? So, example, I'm with my son, Charles, and Andy. I would say I'm the doctor, you decide you're the UFC fighter, gardener, and engineer. Okay, so we decide who are those characters. We debate, because 2 out of the 4 will stay alive.
You can.
Question? Okay. Speak in English. Speak English, and you will have 5 minutes to discuss. So I will tell you the time. I will write it on the board. Let's go, guys.
Here, here.
Go home. Go home. Ensemble. Are you bored? Yes, you said that.
You will die.
Yes.
Yes, but you can do yourself for
On est juste trois. C'est ça, on est quatre.
Cannabis time. The engineer. So you have to get it. They're like, very good out of four.
Moi, je trouve que les gamins, avant les gamins, non, parce que sinon, vous allez
Oh, yes! Du salaire minimum en Chine.
Moi, je suis la bouffe n'est pas, il n'y en a pas assez. Je suis allé en chercher que je t'en garde. C'est à lui. Moi, je vais faire ma
Yes, we should keep it up.
Okay, now, listen up. I will ask. Guys at the back. I will ask each team who stayed alive and who died. Okay? Listen up. Number one. Okay, girls here. Listen up. So you stayed alive. Qui est resté en vie? You? Did you decide? Yes. Okay. Guys, now we listen to Abdu's team. Guys.
Timber!
Now, go Abdu and your team. Okay, and why?
Well, because if anyone like this first, I will go around. And if like you have no one, you don't have a good
That's good. Perfect. So now, Andy's team.
It was the butcher and the engineer.
Butchers and engineer?
Yes.
Good. You?
Gardener is better. Because gardener is important because if you are first, you take it.
Okay, yeah, go back to the place. Yeah, go back to the place So now, listen up. Don't forget, I'm recording this class. Okay. So the game, you were a little bit excited, but I know it's fun. We are in team. It was also great to see that you exchanged with your partners. So now, we will talk about how to stay alive. You will watch a 4-minute video on Bear Grylls, giving you tips on how to stay alive and how to survive. After, we will respond to some questions on the video. So listen carefully. Listen up.
Successful survival involves 4 basic principles: protection, rescue, water, and food. Your first priority is shelter. Sometimes you just need a place to rest up to keep you out of the elements.
My knee's just a load of green foliage. I just cut all of this spring one. And then in about 20 minutes, I've made a pretty good emergency shelter.
Next on my list of priorities is fire, and securing it can be tough. What I'm doing now is making a bow. It takes a little perseverance, but once you've mastered it, it's as good as having a box of matches.
Bit of smoke starting. Need enough of that to make an ember. So then drop into the tin. There we go. Okay, then the ember on a tip, carefully into the tinder, and then just nurture it. Okay, we've got flame.
In the hunt for water, resourcefulness and improvisation are key. can use a bit of charcoal from my fire to make a basic water filter.
What it will do is make any toxins or chemicals bind to the charcoal. By putting grass in the end, that's going to take out any bigger stuff like sand or grit. And then just over the top of it, put a bit of my t-shirt. Okay, try. Well, it tastes clean. Maybe a bit sweaty for my t-shirt, but good to drink and safe.
Every environment presents its own set of dangers. In
That's a
order
little
to
bit
survive in the
disgusting.
wild, you need energy. That means food.
And you see that
Listen.
juggle of that, and that really in an emergency survival situation is food and life.
You'll see blood right now.
I'm really fresh.
It's primary juice, y'all.
To survive. And certainly no lads and tribes all around the world to drink the fresh blood from their animals as a source of energy and survival.
The next priority is to maximize your chance of rescue.
Fill this up then with a little bit of water.
Now to prepare the wire.
And I really want to rub it like this in my hand. The idea of this is it magnetizes a bit of wire, and then when I put it in, it'll swing round and point towards the magnetic north, giving me that north-south line. And that should be enough. And then what I do is put the leaf in and drop that on top. And yeah, look at that, there you go. She's beginning to swing round.
Freely suspended metal that's been magnetized will always point to magnetic north.
So this will point to the north.
And that's now come steady, and that's given me a good, reliable north-south line. Now I know the sun rose somewhere over there because I didn't see it, so that's east, so west is somewhere over there, and this north-south line means I'm definitely heading in the right direction for my westward tracking. So I'm going to keep this little bit of wire, get rid of the leaf, drink the water.
Without the right knowledge, living in the wilds can be a real challenge.
Thank you, Bear Grylls.
Oh, great.
Okay, so I have some questions for you. So if you listen carefully, Bear Grylls explained 4 principles. What would be those 4 principles? Raise your hand if you know. Abdu.
Do I name the 4 of them?
No, just one.
Okay, well, shelter.
Shelter. Shelter will do something. So shelter is good for
Sleeping.
survival, sleeping, but
Protects you from bad weather.
protection. Yes, so a shelter will protect you from bad weather. Another principle. Max down.
Water.
Water. Yes. So water is another extremely important principle when surviving. You need water. And what was the rule of 3? Food? Yes, food. That's another principle. And the rule of 3 was 3 days without water, you die. And 3 weeks without food, you die. So yes, Magnificent, food is another principle.
3 seconds.
And the last one, your main goal to survive is being rescued. So rescue is the last principle. So those are very important in a survival situation. So we will see them in a more detailed way. Raise your hand again. The first thing you should is highlighted because it's extremely important that you do that. The first thing that you should do is, for protection, is building what? Danu?
A shelter.
Yes, good job, Danu. Oui.
J'aimerais voir aller tiroir au secrétariat.
Parfait. Now, letter B. You need to make something to keep you warm. Nolan. Yes, you need a fire. So it's a review because we talked about those things.
Fresh out of blood.
So how to survive? C. You can use A and then to make a compass. Oh, we saw it in the video. Indeed.
Piece of metal.
A piece of metal, yes, or a needle, an aiguille, and a leaf. To make a compass, a leaf and a needle. And then we'll show you where the north is. It's very important to find something to keep your body hydrated. What is it? What is it?
Water.
Water. Yes. So you need water. And the last thing, it was a little bit disgusting.
No.
Fresh animal blood will provide you with. No, it's blood, but the blood will provide you with what?
Meat.
With
Meat.
meat or the blood itself.
Hydration.
Hydration, but something else. Something important when surviving. Huh? No?
Eat.
Juice.
Juice. With energy.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
So if you are desperate to find food or you're losing energy and you're in the forest or something and you see an animal, a dead animal, well, you can drink the animal blood for energy. So that's something to survive.
Can you do something else?
Find edible plants.
Fishing.
Stay at home. Yeah. Okay. Now, for the next thing, I know we talk about the simple path, you know the rules, but it's important to review the rules because next week you have a writing exam and a reading comprehension exam. So you will read a text, answer the question, and part 2 is to write. And the text is at the simple path. So that's why we will review. It's not going to take long, but just to refresh your mind on the simple path rule. You okay? So the context, who would like to read this? William? Maybe? Yes? This?
How many lines?
The first two.
Okay. Used for action with took place in the past. Attention, équivalent au passé composé en français.
Yeah, so the simple past, as you know, it's to talk about actions that happened in the past. So they are completed, they are finished. And it's kind of the same thing as the passé composé. For instance, j'ai mangé du poisson hier soir. J'ai mangé. Comme ton verbe passé composé, ça ressemble un peu au simple past. Time indicators. If you see in a sentence, yesterday, 2 years ago, before, in the past, last year, if you see those words, it's an indicator that, oh, this is happening in the past. And the basic rules, this is important. Number one, the first thing that you should look at is if you see irregular verbs. And the irregular verbs are on the list because sometimes it can be difficult to remember all of them. So on classroom, I put the list. Because the irregular verbs, you will see the change of the verb will change. For instance, I buy a t-shirt. J'ai acheté un chandail. But yesterday, I bought a t-shirt. So you see, buy at the past is bought. Donc la forme, elle a changé. And the rule number 2, if the verb is not an irregular verb, you just add
Shit.
If it's not an irregular verb, you just add ed at the end of the verb. And this will give you the simple past. For instance, I walk. Je marche. I walk at the simple past. I walked. You just add ed. Good? Easy? Verb to be, again, in the past. Was, were, he was, we were, you were, they were. Auxiliaries, if you see did in a sentence or in a question, because usually did is used to form a question. It's an indicator that the sentence is in the past. Also, do you have questions? No?
No.
Because we saw that, it's just a review. Again, in the simple past, you have the affirmative and the negative. So, I didn't go. It's the same thing as I did not go. It's a contraction. Okay? So, if I say, I have not, I haven't. You just have to add not. Finally, questions in the past. So yes, no question. Was she at the party? Yes or no? No, because it's the COVID. There's no party. Or did, again, an indicator. This sentence is in the past. Did they go to work? No. Information question. When were, verb at the simple past. When were you born? You have to give me an information. And it happens in the past because you're there. And finally, question. Why did you say that? Pourquoi tu me dis ça? L'action est déjà faite, que tu l'as déjà dit. So, did, it's your indicator that something is happening in the past. So, I'm looking at the time here. We will do only, because I have two things. I have the free writing activity, and I have you practicing the simple past by writing 3 sentences. It will not take long. And I think that because of the time, I will not do the free writing, and maybe at the end, if we have time, we will do it, or otherwise at the beginning of next class. So, with a piece of paper, I want you to write 3 sentences using the past tense, but I want you to use irregular verbs. So you will have maybe 5 minutes to do that. 3 sentences in the past that is related to survival. Okay? So I will write it down. So you can use your booklet. 3 sentences for lift. Yeah. So you will have maybe 5 minutes. Now, so you can use your agenda or your Chromebook to look at the irregular verbs list. So it's just to practice the simple facts. When you're done, you can do the online game. True sentences in decimal fact related to survival, like related to survival.
I'm going.
At least three. Oh, the Chromebook. Check this working. Okay. Yes. 2 more minutes. Let's go.
But do I have to use them?
No. exercise to practice the simple fast again, to make it more concrete. Because, as I said, next week you will write about survival and using a simple fast. So I think it was important to practice just a little bit. So, who would like to read to me their sentence? Like one, maybe one out of the three. Ciao. The second one is good. The third one. Ciao. I drank water last night or a minute ago. I drank water. Perfect. Someone else? No? Can I read one? Okay, I will read one that Annabelle wrote. They built the shelter far away from the street. Perfect. That's perfect. You? Go a little bit. No. Okay. Someone else? No. You're not shy. William.
I thought you were able to get some water.
I thought you were able to get some water. Why? You didn't find water. Good. Perfect. Adi. No?
Lily boy, I drank blood from a zebra.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So you relate your sentence to the video. That's perfect. So. Now, there are 15 minutes left. So we are now at the fourth and last activity. So, now we will do something that is very similar to what you will do for the exam. So it's a practice. Okay? As you know, we read survival stories. True survival stories. For now, you don't need your Chromebook, so you can close the screen of your Chromebook. Guys?
Wait.
So, we talked about the Thai soccer team who have been trapped in a cave for a few days. And I don't know if you know, but there's a movie about this team, and it's quite interesting.
Wait, is it?
It's called The Cave.
Was they like going to a mine and something?
It's after a soccer practice, we decided to visit the Tam Luang cave, but a flash flood happened, and they have been trapped for 17 days in that cave without food, drinking water only. So if you have the chance to see that movie, The Cave, that's a good one to watch. Also, we talked about Mr. Harrison. So he has been a survivor of a shipwreck, and he survived for 3 days in a bubble of air. So he was underwater, and he found like a bubble of air coming in trappe d'air. So for 3 days he had been in this little bubble of air in the boat, and he has been rescued after 3 days. But now we will talk about the Robertson family. It happened, it's a true story. All the stories are based on true events. So, you see, the father, the mom, and the 3 kids. Four. So you will read these stories about the family who decided to go on a trip and visit different places
day the Robertson family was lost at sea? Because the whale attacked the boat. And I will show you something. The whales are called actually killer whales. And I will show you images. Those are killer whales. So this is what we are talking about in the story. So, yes, those whales attacked the boat. So the boat has been damaged. So therefore, the ship was sinking in water. All they had was a lifeboat and only 6 days worth of food. And they survived for 38 days. So what I want you to do is, en classroom, in travaux et devoirs, the first document, the Robertson family, you will listen first. Click and you will read the short story, and then here on page 2, instruction, write the meaning of the words in bold, so those words that you can find in the story to facilitate your comprehension of the story. So this is like the glossary that you will build. You can look online for the definition. This will be important for your comprehension because they are words that you usually don't see or use. Next, answer the following comprehension questions about the survival story. 5 questions. You can look online if you are not sure and go and look in the text for answers. Next week, the comprehension exam will be very similar. So it's a practice. So if you have questions, raise your hand and I will help you. Questions? So we have 10 minutes for this activity. And if you're done, you can do the activities on classroom. Good? So first start by doing the work individually. And if I see that you're on task, you will work with your partner.
So you were in silence and on task. So now you can exchange with your partner to answer the questions in part number 2. If you want.
Hello.
Mais qui vend des choses un peu partout.
You know the kind of definition you use the marchand.
It's like a lifeboat.
Three more minutes.
Yes, sir.
C'est pas en français.
Okay, so you can listen up for a few seconds. So good job, guys. You were on task and you completed some of the words and questions. So next week you will do the same thing, but you will just have to answer the questions. The glossary will already be built, be constructed. Do you have questions? You don't need to submit. It's just for you. It was a practice. So make sure that you put your survival booklet in your binder, and it's already the end of the class. So again, good job, good participation, and we'll see each other Friday of this week.